are back with more Calder Cup playoffs. It's the quarterfinals right now as three series are still going on. The Barracuda finishing off Texas last night, but two series are at 2-2. And the surprise maybe of the playoffs so far, the Springfield Thunderbirds up 3-1 on the Hershey Bears. Hi, everyone. TSibs with you. Joining me tonight, Ducks fan Waterloo. We'll be talking to Vibes a little later on once he gets his games up and running. And we hopefully will have Biggie on a little bit later on as well. So full pack show tonight. Plenty going on. And we are deep into these quarterfinals as I mentioned. And the playoff grid looks a little something like this. As you see, the Barracuda have moved on into the next round, waiting for the final of the Moose and the Cleveland Monsters, and that series tied up at 2-2. And Ducks, congrats on your team for making it past this round and taking the Western Pacific. You guys played well all season long, but certainly, with some great teams out there in the West who gave you guys a fight every single night. And to come out of that division, to me, whatever happens from here on for you guys, it would be great, as far as you can go. But I think it's a hell of an accomplishment just to come out of the Western Pacific.
Yeah, definitely. As you talked about on the show all season, the Western Pacific seemed to be the giant of all four of the divisions. So definitely humbling to be the top one out of there.
And so you guys are seemingly having everything fire on all cylinders. Certainly, you were down. You were one game away from being out of this against Ontario, and now you guys move on in the playoffs. Did you guys? We talked a little bit about this after your Game 7, but how much did that series maybe get you guys straightened out and maybe get some heads cleared to the point where now you guys are really playing some solid hockey? You've won 8 in a row now, and that says something about how well I think you guys have come together. Did that series against Ontario do that for you?
Yeah, definitely. You go into that series, and we finished third in the conference or the division, but we were pretty much on top of it all season long. So going into it, I think we were a little cocky, a little in over our heads, and then going down 3-0 definitely shook us straight, as you mentioned. So very glad to be still in this playoffs, and very happy to be in the conference finals.
Well, tonight we've got a couple of series that are tied up at 2, Moose and the Monsters, and that one has gone back and forth. Again, I don't know how much of these series you've had a good look at, but just your initial impressions of what you're going to have to go up against with either one of these teams.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of the Monsters Moose series. I haven't watched too much of it just because I had to deal with my own there.
Sure.
But just watching that 5 overtime game that happened, I think last night, that was crazy to see. And going over there, and the Moose, I'm looking at now the 2 losses that the Moose have are in overtime, so they could have just as easily been in the same position as us.
And, of course, you mentioned Syracuse and Toronto tied up at 2. That series is, again, pretty much where we would have thought it would be. Very much a great matchup, similar to what the Crunch went up against before with Binghamton. But the series that's a surprise right now is Springfield up 3-1 on the Hershey Bears. Did you ever think that you ever think that you'd see Hershey beat down like this in a series?
Definitely not. Maybe in the Eastern Finals, but not the Eastern Atlantic Finals, that's for sure.
Well, we had a chance to talk to KEPLER a little bit earlier on and discuss how things have been going for his team and pretty much how they've gotten there. And I was able to spend a few moments with him earlier on today. He's been co-hosting with Vibes on Livewire in the last several weeks. You've heard him there. You've seen him and his Springfield Thunderbird team play amazing hockey these last several weeks at least, and he joins us now on the pregame show. It's KEPLER. Dude, your team rocking a 3-1 lead right now in the series against the Hershey Bears, who everyone thought was going to walk out of that division pretty easily. How are you guys doing this right now?
I honestly don't know. A lot
lot of pressure from our forwards. They look fantastic in the offensive zone, swarming the puck. It's fun to watch. We've had great play from our forwards. All of our defensemen have been fantastic. Looking at the scores, I mean, we've given up this series is 3 goals, and I think any team would be happy to do that against somebody like Hershey. And it all comes back down to Bacon too. He's been phenomenal in that. He's been great. We had Magongo last night. He picked up a win for us, so they're definitely big keys to it.
You mentioned Bacon, a 15-shot shutout in Game 3 in that 2-0 victory against the Hershey Bears, and going up against Moose, these guys have had a playful little discussion in the shout box the past week, but they have a ton of respect for each other. And Bacon just seems to be getting better and better. Every time I see this guy play, he just seems to be more and more on his game. Talk about how much he's meant to the team this season.
Up to this point, I think it's safe to say he's been our MVP. We've had shaky games on defense where he's kept us in it to the point that, we've been able to come back, score 1 or 2 goals and win. And we feel anytime Bacon is in the net, we have a chance to take it and we have a chance to bring it home. So phenomenal lift from him. We know that he'll make the saves. If we communicate with him, that's when he's at his best. So communication between defenseman and goalie, especially with Bacon, is a huge key, and it's starting to pay off, and he's really hit his stride here lately.
Who's been the leadership on this team? Who are the guys who've really stepped up and helped make the Springfield team a much more cohesive unit over the season?
Well, it starts with our management. Ice Block, very, very good at communicating with us. And I think it all kind of moves down from there. MLN is fantastic. He knows what to say and when he needs to say it, and how to say it, really, which I think is very important, especially when a lot of communication in this league is through a PlayStation chat, a Skype chat, Discord, whatever it may be. And then everybody on the team is real good about communicating with each other. And it seems like our team's been really good about, just telling people what they expect or what we think needs to happen, and we've all bought into it.
At this point, you guys are up 3-1 against Hershey, a team that certainly has plenty of talent to go to, and with Moose and net, most nights, an incredibly tough team to beat. But you're up 3-1 now. How do you keep your team from the backslide? We've seen this happen a few times already in the playoffs where teams up 2-0, 3-0 even, have lost a game, lost the second game, and all of a sudden the slide happens. What prevents the Thunderbirds from having that happen to them?
We need to focus on, one game at a time. We can't sit here and think, if we lose this game, we need to do this next game. We need to focus on the game at hand, and we can't be complacent. We know we've played well, but we know we can be better than what we have been. So just continuously pushing to be better. I think that'll help us a lot, and that'll keep us from kind of a landslide.
You talk about the goaltending, and certainly with McGowan and with Bacon, two very solid guys in net. But you've played well, obviously, on lefty. Talk about the defensive core and what that's meant to the success of the Thunderbirds.
We have, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, we have 6 very, very solid defensemen. And I've had the chance to play with all 3 of our right defensemen this year due to availability issues, matchups, stuff like that. And everybody on our defensive end is very, very easy to mesh with. Everybody communicates well, and we seem to read each other when it comes to knowing what the other person is going to do across from you. So with the communication, we know where the other person's going to be. where we need to be, everything like that. And we also communicate that with Bacon. So strong defense, I think, wins hockey games, and we're seeing that a little bit here.
What's going to be the key to continuing to and try and close this out in Game 5? What's the key against the Bears? What do you guys have to concentrate on?
We can't give them space. We know when we give them space, they can be deadly with it. They can make moves, get around people, and they like to find the open man. So we gotta play some in-your-face defense and just stay on the puck.
Kepler, thanks for your time, man. I appreciate it. Good luck tonight in Game 5.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Kepler joining us on the pregame show, and we thank him for his time. And but tell you what, Ducks, a lot of veteran leadership on this Springfield team. We've talked about it before on this pregame and on some of the shows during the week. MLN, Stanley's Cup, a bunch of guys who definitely have played this game, not just in the league, but all over the place. And they absolutely has to be a benefit for these guys.
Yeah, no doubt. As much leadership as you can get in the locker room is definitely going to help you out throughout the playoffs here. That's for sure.
We are getting ready for that game with the Bears and the Thunderbirds. It looks like the Bears have sent the invite out and are waiting now at this point. And we'll see. We'll get this to you as soon as possible. Expecting KEPLER to provide a feed, and we hope to get that from him soon. Looks like Moose is streaming as well, so we'll get one or the other. But yeah, it's these guys are fearless. It doesn't really matter to them what's happened with Hershey last season. They kept themselves in good stead during the season, despite what was going on with Hartford winning and losing, despite Lehigh Valley coming and going, looking like they could really be a problem, and then dropping out at the end. Through all of that, these guys just went out and played and got better and better as the season went on. I think some of these guys that we're talking about who have been playing the game for a long time, I think they just got better during the season. And it's kind of amazing since this game has been played for several seasons now, but I think we saw these guys actually get better.
Yeah, and they kind of remind me of the Charlotte Checkers from last year a bit. I mean, they're playing solid team defense. They have a couple hot goalies, and their forwards are lighting it up so far.
We're going to get to that game here in a second, as all three games are getting live here, so we will get these up on the stream quickly. And
looks like they're just loading in now.
Yeah, so we'll get you at least to the first game and KEPLER stream, and give you a chance to be able to look at that.
Yeah, his perspective's probably a bit better than Moose's, so that's good. You have any predictions for this game?
For some reason, I always feel like the Hershey Bears find a way to win. I mean, we didn't struggle too much in the playoffs last season until we hit the Heat. But I for some reason I keep thinking these guys are going to be back in it. It's hard to believe they won't be.
Yeah, especially with the forward line they have right now with Jack Dupe and Bob Swagger.
Yeah, and that is just a solid lineup. You look at who's going in that one, and you mentioned not only Dupe and Swagger, but Nismo was just phenomenal for the Bears last season, again this year. D. Mitch is a great defender. Love him. I don't know Goodberger well, but they're both back there with Moose. So this is a good Bears team they're facing tonight.
Definitely.
If they're able to take this game, then you got to really seriously look at the Thunderbirds as a major contender, because you're able to do something against these guys with Bob playing. It's without question a something to deal with. But Springfield drawing first blood as we say this, and that quickly, they take a lead in this.
Good old wraparound.
And Hershey has not had much offense in the way just yet, so we will have more. We'll need to see more out of Hershey before we feel like they are absolutely doing something, worthwhile here at this point. Little buffering of the feed there. We'll get you that. We'll get that corrected here shortly. This is what happens when you try and stream multiple streams.
Yeah.
I'm trying to also add in the Toronto game as well, so we'll hopefully get a chance to look at that as well as soon as these pop in here. A little slow in getting going here, so apologize for that, but a lot of activity going on, and there, as you see, Toronto has a 1-0 lead in their game as well, and now 2-0 as Springfield has scored another goal.
Wow.
A little bit of an issue with the buffering of the stream there, so we'll try and remedy that as soon as we can. But yeah, this is the kind of start that Springfield is going to want to have to really have a chance. Try and jump out on them right away. I guess is the best way to deal with this.
Definitely make them pay for their mistakes and have no momentum go on for the Hershey side. That's definitely what you want.
Take a listen in and a look into the Toronto game. Did you see Lobo Dangles is in this one tonight? And I know it's been talked about a lot in the shout box. It's been talked about by us on the show and on the live games. Lobo has played spectacularly in the playoffs. And, I take about 5% of what's said in the shout box seriously. And that's even being generous, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But the kind of things they've been saying about Lobo for really the past 2 seasons, and the numbers and just watching these games, say very differently what people say in the shout box.
Yeah, I never really bought into that kind of stuff about how Lobo's a scrub hunter. I mean, being GM this year, I know how scheduling is, and if all he's available for are mediocre teams some weeks, then that's what he's going to get. It's really not up to him most times.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of it has to do with scheduling and availability. You can't just say somebody is something and and not have. Yeah. Well, look, you can. Obviously, guys in the shout box say stuff all the time with nothing to back it up. So.
Yeah, I mean, people in the shout box will say whatever they want, so you can't really take too much of that stuff seriously.
We'll get the Cleveland game in here shortly. But now Hershey has finally put themselves up on the board with a goal here.
That's something they definitely needed to score within the period, and hopefully get another one quickly.
3-1 lead, though, for Springfield, and that's going to be a huge mountain to climb. And it looks like, the Thunderbirds still attacking. Moose still getting a lot of activity on him. And I think that's where Hershey's been hurting a little bit in the series as they're about to take a penalty. It's been with the fact that they're taking, that their defense has not been as good as it had been during the season. They've been a bit exposed in this series.
Right, and if you don't play tight hockey, whichever team you're facing is definitely going to expose you and take advantage of that, for sure.
Meanwhile, that game, Toronto and Syracuse, is about to wind down the first period. And that one you expect to be close the whole way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be surprised if too many more goals are scored here.
Just, with what the Thunderbirds have been doing, we almost probably would could have seen a rematch of the Bears and the Crunch from season 4 in that Eastern Conference Finals, but Toronto is certainly not going to go easily, and Hershey has not been the same. Have not had a chance to talk to Swagger, and I would like to at some point, whatever happens tonight. But, he always has a plan. He certainly is very good at strategizing who he puts out there every game. And he's had Moose up against Bacon. He's definitely had those matchups where he needs it to be. Don't know what else he really could have done, quite honestly.
Yeah, and it's looked like he's played Jay Doulis his 2 games of the series so far, so probably going to be riding Moose the rest of the way. And even though he's had a rough start to this game, I think he's going to bounce back huge in the second and third period here.
And both games now have, actually the Toronto game is now started back up again. Hopefully we get to take a look at the stats here. Of course, Springfield 9 shots already on goal, 4 for Hershey, and time on attack the same. Just they've had some better opportunities at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get back to the Hershey game in a second. I want to try and load up the screen one more time to get the Cleveland game in there, and we'll show that as soon as it pops back up again. But I don't think T-Ball has anything really going here at this point.
Yeah.
But we'll put that back up there anyway, just so you can watch a cat sitting on pizza. I don't know where else you're going to get that. I have to see if even T-Ball was here for this one. But Springfield now, again, another good opportunity. Wow. And they're getting good close-in slot opportunities. And I don't care how good of a goaltender you have, that is not going to be a good thing for anyone.
Yeah, Hershey's got to tighten up here if they want to have any chance in this series and this game.
Now 4-1 in favor of Springfield here as the second opens up. And meanwhile, Toronto still holding on to their 1-0 lead. See if we can get that Cleveland game on for you.
I know my team had a ton of trouble with EA just trying to connect to the servers and trying to connect with the other team through the Challenge Club. The servers have been brutal the past couple days.
T-Ball is in this one tonight, so I'm sure he will be streaming. He is just offline right now.
Yeah.
And they may have been having some issues with a lot of stuff here. Who knows? We may or may not get a chance to see that one. We'll see. But if not, we'll just stick with these 2 games.
You want to score goals, you have to go to this area. Over 7 minutes have been skated here in the second. Springfield's offense continues to hum. Their advantage is 3.
Getting shots right off the face-off, too. And Springfield just looks to be all together in this game.
Yeah, playing that neutral zone trap, not giving Hershey too much.
And there's an opportunity, and that time Bacon just a little too far out of position. The goaltenders do get a little jumpy in this game too. I think we've all can admit to that. Things are going well. You've had some success, and sometimes you get a little bit pumped up and slide a little bit too much. And I think maybe Bacon might have had that situation just now.
Yeah, definitely. In these big games, your nerves are definitely jumping. So I can see why he's a little out of position there, just not playing the way he's used to, I guess.
Good stick presence. The Thunderbirds have forced another turnover, Doc. They've done a real nice job in that category in this close game. Great job on a cut pass. And he sends it to the net. Now it's directed to Jack.
And it seemed teams in this playoff now just also playing a lot smarter in just one really simple thing, getting the puck on the net. I mean, we've been preaching that for so long. We don't see enough teams do that. We still see too many forwards trying to skate in, trying to dangle in front of the net, spin moves, whatever. And the more successful teams are the ones who just move the puck around, who get it on the net, who don't sit still with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Texas did that a lot in my game, and I think in Game 4 too. Whenever they crossed the blue line, they pretty much just ripped the puck on net, hoping for a rebound. But luckily, my defenseman did a really, really good job of clearing rebounds and making sure there weren't any second opportunities.
I'm going to do a quick refresh of the screen here to get rid of the other game. But yeah, I could see that happening when you're struggling in a game and you're trying to get something going. I absolutely can see that happening. Because that's definitely a situation where guys are getting frustrated and things aren't happening for them, so they try and make something happen. But that's a panic setting in, though.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when you have no other option, just to shoot pucks on net, that's like you said, you're in desperation mode at that point.
And Bacon with a nice save off the face-off there. Meanwhile, Toronto just scored their second. They're up 2-0 here as we get to 2 minutes down left in the second period. And this is where Swagger, at least towards the end of this period, is going to want to see his team push a lot harder offensively. Try and come into the next period with some momentum, and as I say that, they draw a penalty.
Yeah, if they can get that within one goal against Springfield, I think they'll have a lot of momentum here. But like you said, that penalty is not going to help them at all. But a huge kill here would also give them a bit of momentum going forward.
Zone. Oh, and what a tremendous job of keeping the puck alive. Carried from the defensive zone. Gets in. What'll he do?
This power play won't go the whole period. At least they get one on the net, which is nice.
Moving it to AJ. Players tired.
Meanwhile, Syracuse late in the second here has just gotten on the board finally. 2-1 now Toronto, as you see at the bottom of your screen. If we get any kind of update on the Cleveland game, well, Cleveland and Manitoba will let you know. This second period winding down now. Hershey, one more opportunity. Puck on net, and Swagger is almost there to get the rebound, but not quite. And so, again, 4-2 now as that second period is over. And Hershey, one period away from getting knocked out of these playoffs by Springfield. And
yeah, at this point, you're definitely in just absolute desperation mode. Any momentum or any momentum shift in the period you can get, you're absolutely going to go for it. It's all or nothing right now.
This one will be determined when we come back.
Let's see if we can get the T-ball feed back on again. I want to see if he's got something actually going here.
Don't think so. Yeah, it's still offline. Might have to ask Vibes what's going on there, if the game started or just no stream.
I think he's saying that, well, at least I guess he thinks he's streaming at this point, but not yet.
Oh, okay.
No, I think I think he did start it up, but then for whatever reason, we have some issues going on. We'll try and find out what's going on with that game.
Nice stand-up poke check there. Slid to Goligoski. The Thunderbirds have possession through the neutral zone. Poke checked away by Finley.
Now Hershey getting some opportunities. Good close-in chance there as Nismo picked up the rebound, but Bacon covered it up right away. And this is the period where I'm sure Baker Weave knows that they're going to put everything that they can on net. They're going to take every opportunity they can to get shots. As a goaltender, you have to know a team in desperation is going to really test you at this point. And the defense, hopefully, will be there to help them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they might start trying those long-range cheese shots like from the blue line, or going for tough ankle shots, just looking for anything, like you said.
In the last sequence, I mean, you could see their offensive line staying low, staying, around the face-off circles, trying to help out all they can. No reason to take any chances right now with a 2-goal lead, and you've got to be there. Another shot going wide, but again, Hershey getting him on net, and now needing to get back and defend.
You see Springfield just rip shots on net. I think the name of the game now is just to get pucks deep and have a couple guys stay back a bit.
Hershey deep in his zone, getting it back to the point. And that shot going wide. But, yeah, they're trying to move the puck. Springfield just doing a hell of a job clogging up the middle, pushing the play to the outside. Again, another standard tactic as we see Toronto now. Wow, what a goal.
Wow.
Player gets knocked down while he's on the break, but still manages to get something off. 3-1 Toronto. And it looks like
Here comes the timeout.
there's a timeout being called here, I would think.
Yeah, 16 shots to 8 for Syracuse. I would guess Syracuse would be pushing the guys just to rip shots on that. Hope for anything now.
You see a little bit of the replay. That was a hell of a goal. Meanwhile, Hershey, 11 minutes left to go in this game, and looking for a wrap, and almost goes in.
Wow.
Bacon just getting enough of that to keep it on the goal line.
Over 9 minutes have passed here in the third. Springfield's got the advantage. It's tenuous, though. 4-2. Loose puck due to the play by
Okay, looks like Maximus may have a stream up for us. And Springfield may have just put the dagger in the Hershey Bears at this point. 5-2 with 10 minutes left to go in this one.
At least that is fortunate. Fires a shot.
Meanwhile, the Moose are up 1-0. They're in the second period, 13 minutes left to go. We'll get that game on here shortly as well. Toronto has scored another goal. They're up 4-1 and very close to now taking a 3-2 lead in this series.
Yeah, just the way Toronto's playing, it looks like this one's pretty much over unless Syracuse can get another quick one here, just to counter.
Hershey getting on the board again. Jack Dupe with the loose pickup, and able to put it home. 6:44 left, still time down 2. But man, they better be putting the speed on here.
Yeah, just in this third period, it looks like the momentum's definitely shifting towards Hershey. Let's see if they can pot a couple more goals here with time's winding down, like you mentioned.
And you know what? You see this in the game of hockey. You know, you have a lead, you get a bit tentative, you don't want to blow it. And they're not playing as loose as they had been, but Springfield's still doing well enough to keep this lead. Good defensive play there. Again, forwards coming back to help out. And they'll take a timeout in that game. We'll do a quick refresh to get you the Cleveland game on the screen here. That one, again, halfway through, still the Moose up by 1-0 in that game.
And the Crunch get another 4 minutes left. If they score 2 more, look out.
Crunch down 4-2. And we're back here with the Hershey and Springfield game. Good steal in the zone, and Bacon staying alert, making the left pad save.
They won it. Now what can they do? Hershey's moving the puck up the wing. Knocked it away with the stick. Nearing the last minute.
Minute left to go, and Hershey needs a miracle right now. They needed one right there. Almost had it.
Pitching this one to Chalmerson.
No ice on that call. Wow.
Yeah.
Moving it to Goligoski.
3-on-2, 4-on-2. And there, a good quick shot by Duke. Puts that one in. His second goal. Now they're down by 1, and we're going to get this one right down to the wire.
Dramatic third period.
Wow, that almost went in too.
Somehow they found some weakness there. This should be an icing, and it will be. 29 seconds in this game now. Another face-off being called, and I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to put this up on full screen so that we can watch this one by itself, at least for a little bit here.
Sure.
Only 29 seconds left to go, but definitely a game that we want to keep an eye on.
Yep. Crunch game has 3 seconds left, and it looks like the Marlies going to take that one 4-2. Yep, there's the final buzzer.
And we are back to the Hershey game here.
For a critical face-off.
Big face-off here.
It's a large win by the defensive centerman. Congratulations to him. Lets the shot fly.
Shot on that loose puck. Trying to get in front, not able to. Hershey still keeping it in, and now Springfield is going to close
It's
this
over.
one out. Moose with a hell of a save. Hershey trying to
Who's that
get
on
this
the
puck up.
breakaway?
3 seconds, 2-1. Need a quick shot on net. And they get it. They score!
Wow.
.2 left to go in the game, and they did not give up. And the Hershey Bears have tied this game at 5.
Kepler's not going to hear the end of that. He had the breakaway there with 15 seconds left, and Moose had an unreal save.
Unbelievable. And I don't blame Bacon. You know, a couple of seconds left. You're expecting that shot to come. And the fact that the pass came and they still got off with .2 left to go, that is an amazing, amazing play. Wow.
Can't get much closer than that. Jeez, 0.2 seconds.
What a comeback by the Hershey Bears, who never gave up in this one. And now we go to overtime, and we're definitely going to have to stick with this one, I'm sure, and keep an eye on it. But let's just take a look at the Cleveland game. We know Toronto already won 4-2. We're taking a quick look at the Moose and the Monsters. It's still 1-0. It's the third period's opened up. Cleveland struggling a little bit offensively, but have an opportunity here. Not able to wrap it.
I still can't believe the Thunderbirds didn't score on that 3-0. It had 3 guys there and couldn't pot it.
Yeah, that's a situation where you make a couple of passes. Honestly, you didn't need 3 guys in the zone there. But let's get back to the play here on overtime.
Somebody who has been on the ice tonight will leave the ice a hero.
And Moose, give credit to Moose for making that save. I mean, he came out, made it without a penalty, and he kept the Bears alive.
Could be the save of the season for him there.
And they've taken that face off between the blue lines.
And now all the momentum still on the Hershey Bears side. We'll see how aggressive Springfield can be offensively. It kind of died out in the third.
Yeah, they started to sit back a little bit, and that's definitely not what you want to do against a team like Hershey. You want to be on the gas, not on the brakes there.
Grabbed by Jack. Fires. Save. Boy, he really
Wow. And Jack Duke, give him a ton of credit for, also just continuing to pound the puck on the net. And Bacon did what he could, but he just wasn't getting the support. Now another great opportunity and a great save by Bacon Weave to stop that one. Back out to the point, good block in front. And almost thrown into his own goal.
Springfield's lugging it along in their own end.
Hershey's so close to winning it just there.
Kitty cornered in by LeBlanc.
And D-Mitch will move it out.
Passing one off.
Hershey moving the puck well and quickly.
Seeks the corner.
Ooh.
Dupe almost had that one right in front.
In front.
Dupe again, wrap try, but Bacon's there. It is just an amazing turnaround from when we saw this game start, Ducks.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Good face-off win. Shoots. Stick to
Another good quick pass and shot.
nap by Jones.
And Bacon Weave earning his keep right now. He's
Pitching it to Finley.
taking a lot of barrage here. Another good opportunity as now Hershey loses that one, and Springfield trying to start back up again. No icing on the call. The Bears will have to play this one.
If Thunderbirds can't finish this one off, they better look out the rest of the series. The Bears are going to take control, I think.
Right away. Good poke check by LeBlanc.
again, this can be as devastating as losing 3-4 games in a row to lose a series. You know, they had this one in their pocket. They were about ready to move on to the next round. And now they're playing an overtime game when they had a 5-2 lead, I believe.
Yeah, 5-2 with 10 minutes left or something like that. Yeah, if they can't pull this one out, it's definitely going to hurt them.
Bears kick it in. Good defensive play by Bobby. Now loose puck in front. Good save by Moose. Oh, another good shot, another good save. A point shot that had some screens there. Now Hershey coming back out. Oh, good hit there. A lot of hits.
Letting them play.
A lot of hits in this game. And that's kind of risky at this point, too. I mean, you got to play aggressively, but, yeah, you start hitting, you're taking some chances. The Bears now come out. Had a little bit of a break there, couldn't take advantage of it. Good defensive play there. Just pinching right at the blue line.
Maybe not the best thing to do in overtime. It worked out for him.
Oh, so close, and Moose was there to stop it. And again, little slow sliding across, but got there. This overtime, there's 2.5 left to go in it. It's been a quick pace overtime so far. And an open side of the net, so close there, but not able to do anything with it. Another wrap by Dupe is no good. Couple of more good opportunities for Hershey there. Puck thrown in front, and Moose just able to get it away before it's knocked off his stick. And a great save there by Moose. Beautiful opportunity in there for Jansta, but he couldn't put it home.
Jack's passing in this game has been outstanding. He has 2 assists so far. Good jab of the puck. The Thunderbirds with possession up the wing, and that one's chopped in half by Mitchell. And there's a delayed penalty.
Yeah, it's going to be a slash on Mitch. He took one too many swipes.
Oh, and it's going to be the extended one, too, with the last minute being super slow in overtime.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's going to hurt.
Yeah, this is not where you want to be taking a penalty.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll change with this one. That was a great job. Shot back down. More time off the clock. Puck is thrown.
This overtime has 1 minute left to go. Springfield on the power play. Good opportunity in front, broken up as Janster tried to get a stick on, could not. And now Hershey moving it up. Good opportunity. Oh, great stick maneuvering there by Nismo, but he could not put one home. Another quick shot on net. 2 guys deep for Hershey, so they better get back. Oh, good play. Nice sweep of the puck and getting it out of the zone as a loose rebound in front of Moose was dangerous, but looked like it was a play by Goodberger to get that out of the way. I tell you what, Springfield getting some really good opportunities, and right in front there, a loose puck and slammed home by Ludacris, and a great comeback by the Hershey Bears, but Springfield able to pull this one out, and boy, that's just one little mistake in there, and that's it. Meanwhile, we shift over quickly to that game between Cleveland and Manitoba, and the Moose are up 3-0 here with 20 seconds left to go in the third period, and this one will be over shortly as well, and hopefully we'll get a few guys on to talk about these games in a minute.
We got to give the Bears some credit there. What an unreal comeback, but Springfield just outdoes them there.
And so the Moose have taken now game 5 in this one, and they have a 3-2 lead. We'll keep on them now just to get some stats from them if we can. We switch over to Hershey. 26 shots for Springfield, 24 for the Hershey Bears. And you see the time on attack as Hershey really came back and took control of this game. Had 6 penalty minutes, though, as we saw that last penalty. And as you mentioned, that power play went on longer than a typical one would when you take it late in the period. And Springfield able to capitalize on that. And, again, final score in this one, 6-5 in favor of Springfield. And hopefully we can get Kep back on to talk about this one. Yeah, he's already saying he just about blew it for his team. But yeah, just an interesting finish to this one. Yeah, let's get KEPLER on this call and talk to him about this game. Wow, what a finish to this one. I mean, it's not what you're expecting to see in a game. And I tell you what, KEPLER, you there? He's still coming up here. We'll hopefully get him on here very shortly and talk to him. But yeah, just that's to stop that momentum, like we said. When your team starts sliding in a game, it takes. I mean, you've got to really, try and get something quickly happening to break the tide. And it didn't seem like Springfield was able to do much of anything to be able to do that. They wound up really just going with the flow and then eventually, able to get into overtime. But yeah, just a struggle for them.
Yeah, definitely. In that third period, it seemed like Hershey was just taking over in half of the first half of that overtime. But Springfield found a way to claw back, so congrats to them.
Still trying to get KEPLER on here. We'll try and get to him as soon as we're able to get him hooked up here on Skype. Again, overtime final in favor of the Thunderbirds, and KEPLER now joins us. Wow, what an interesting third period in that game. What was going on when Hershey started coming back? What were you guys saying to each other?
Just telling each other to hold on a second. I'm having a little issue here.
You're getting a 50 million messages at this point.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, no problem.
Yep.
Okay. All right. When they were coming back, oh man. We were just telling each other to stay calm. We've dealt with this before. We had a game against Hartford where we had a pretty good lead and they came back. So we were just telling each other, stay calm, keep the same game plan and move forward and put some more pressure on, maybe put some more pucks in the net.
So let's talk about
the breakaway. Let's not.
Well, I mean, it's not so much the breakaway. I mean, Moose made a solid attempt and poked it away, and that's that's one thing. But the transition back, what happened there? Did people just think there wasn't enough time left?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. We went down there, and I botched the breakaway. That's all I can say. Moose stepped up, made a huge save on it, and we tried to pick it up, and make a couple passes. I wouldn't say burn the clock, but keep possession. But it didn't work like that. They got a quick break, which everybody knows can happen from a breakaway. They capitalized on it. It was a hell of a play from them. Nothing else you can say about it.
And you guys, you're up 5-2. Things are going really well. First period, all yours. Most of the second period, really, all yours. You seem to be controlling the tempo of the game, and then suddenly, Hershey is able to get something going, and then just turned on the Jets. What were they doing differently in that third that got them some really good opportunities?
We gave them a little space, and they were making quick passes. We were getting out of position a little bit, so they were seeing that. They were capitalizing on it. And props to them. They never said die. They stepped up, and we knew they were going to come back. that offensive line, you can only hold it down for so long. So, I mean, props to them. Mad respect for them. Mad respect for Bobby and their whole team.
Yeah, did you have a change of game plan there in the third? Because like TSibs said, it looked like you were kind of changing the way you played. Maybe not on purpose, maybe on purpose. Were you more defensive, or what was going on there?
I don't know, man. We were just kind of, I guess, winging it. We were trying to take stuff away from them, and they were trying to find holes, and they found some holes there, obviously, with the comeback they did make. So I think we figured it out there towards the end of the third period. I thought we played a little better towards the end of the third into overtime.
Definitely.
But yeah, it was something that we didn't intentionally change.
Yeah, it almost, and we were talking a little bit about it during the game, it almost seemed like maybe you guys got into a little bit of a defensive shell. Did you see it that way at all?
I wouldn't say we got into as much of a defensive shell as it was them turning it up.
Okay.
And those three guys, Jack, Bobby, Nismo, they can produce. So if they really want to turn it up, and if they get mad or they get frustrated, they're coming at you with all they have. So I think we did kind of back up a little bit, but I think we did what had to be done to kind of pick it back up.
And Bacon was, in that overtime, excellent. Made some. I think both goaltenders made some great saves, but I think Bacon may have had more of the solid opportunities against him for most of that third period, where the Bears were able to get right out in front with him, and again, he looked like he was getting sharper as the game went on.
Man, that's Bacon. That's been Bacon all year. We had a couple plays there where we let him dance to the front from the corners, and you can't do that. But I've said it at the beginning of the series. I caught a lot of flack for it doing that show with Vibes. I said right now I would take Bacon over Moose, and that showed this series, and I was comfortable saying at the beginning of the series, and I'll say it again. I'll take Bacon over any goaltender right now.
Well, man, I tell you what, that was, it was a game where we're sitting here going, when is Hershey going to start playing at least at the level? And for the longest time, it wasn't happening. And, I think you said it earlier too, Kep, a team with Bob Swagger, alone managing the team is one thing. When Bob's in the lineup, that's when you have to get concerned even more, because he is going to do whatever he can and make adjustments. He's really good at doing that in game, and that seems to be what he did. And that's scary to any team when you've got to go up against not only a guy who's really good as a GM, but knows how to make adjustments in game. And it looked like the Bears did that well.
Oh, definitely. Bobby's full of tricks, man. Off the ice, on the ice. One of the best I've seen all around.
Right.
And it's fun to watch, and it's fun to play against.
Well, listen, we're going to let you get going and go celebrate. Great victory, 4-1 quarterfinal victory for the Springfield Thunderbirds against the Hershey Bears, knocking those defending Eastern Conference champs out of the race now, and in a 6-5 late overtime goal in this one. And, congratulations. Best of luck to the next round. And, hey, listen, good luck. We'll talk to you more down the road.
All right, I appreciate it, man. It was good being here, and mad respect to Hershey and good series.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yep.
That's KEPLER. He's with the Springfield Thunderbirds, and he and his team just finishing up a wild third period between Springfield and Hershey, where the Springfield Thunderbirds up in that third period 5-2. Hershey storming back. 3 straight goals, tie it up at 5 with 0.2 left to go in the third period, and then a long overtime penalty late in that overtime period, and the Thunderbirds able to capitalize on that one and scoring a goal very, very late in that overtime and taking the victory. And again, it really was a tale of two games, wasn't it, Ducks?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see the peaks and valleys for both teams. Springfield in the first period just looked like they were just going to completely take over. And it wasn't until that third period, like you said, that Hershey really turned it on there.
And that late goal, I believe, was by Ludacris, who, after a puck bounced out from behind the net and came loose in front of Moose. Moose had made a couple of great saves. Springfield was working that play a lot where they were, bringing it back behind the net, getting somebody out in the slot quickly open, and then passing it out to them, getting a quick shot off. They did that about 3 or 4 times successfully with just getting a shot on net, not scoring with it. But, they were starting to put pressure back on Hershey again. And finally the Bears just made one mistake behind the net. Puck pops out in front to Ludacris, and he's able to pound it home for the game winner. And you get into overtime in a game like that, and it's, you can't make a mistake like that at the last second. And again, another one of those games where it's just mind-boggling how this one ended up.
Yeah. Yeah, you talk about all the chances that Springfield had. I mean, Moose is a really good goalie. You can expect him to save most of them, but you can't expect him to save all of them. And yeah.
Biggie joins us right now on the show, and we're going to get Vibes on here in a second to talk about his game as well. But Biggs, just an interesting game watching the team that you guys took in the finals last year, getting knocked out after a great comeback. You've had a lot of those tight games last season in the playoffs where it was down to an overtime goal to win it. After a comeback like that, how do you stop the bleeding if you're Springfield? What's the thing that they, that any team needs to do to be able to regroup and come back in a game like that?
I think you just gotta come to your senses at some point. Like once you realize it's tied up, I guess you gotta calm down. This is a 1-goal game. You gotta realize that I didn't watch the game, but it sounds like Springfield might have controlled the game for 2 periods, and you got to use that positivity to your advantage. And, especially I don't know how late it was tied up either, but it sounds like you need to almost get out of that third period. Points don't matter in the playoffs. It's just about taking that win. So you got to, at the end of the period, sometimes a really good regroup and really good time to just settle down and get back into the game that you were playing in the first 2 periods.
And that is really what happened too, Ducks. I mean, they, I think a lot of it did have to do with Hershey turning it on, but I kind of really felt like Springfield had gone into a much more of a defensive posture. They weren't attacking on offense themselves too much during that third period. And so I think that's what happens in hockey. It goes hand in hand. It isn't just about, the other team attacked a lot. It's about whether or not you're still attacking or with a 3-goal lead, you're starting to pull back a little bit. And that's kind of what I thought I saw Springfield do.
Yeah, definitely. You started to see them sit back a ton there in the third period, and that can be very, very dangerous when you're playing a forward line that has, like you said, Jack Dupe, Bobby Swagger, and yeah.
Vibes joins us now, and we were just talking about the Hershey-Springfield game, but let's get caught up on what the Moose and the Monsters game. I believe you guys took Game 5 3-0. Is that correct?
Yeah, we took Game 5 3-0 for the 3-2 lead in the series.
How were you feeling after that game? How do you feel about your lineup did tonight? Obviously a shutout. They did well defensively, but overall play in this game, how do you think you guys fared?
A little doped up, and I got 911 ready to go because I took a lot of Xanax. So we're gonna see what happens, but feeling all right so far.
Okay. What I know you've got your lineups in. I haven't looked at them, so let's talk a little bit about who you have going tonight in this Game 6. You know, you got a hell of a lineup going, obviously, up front, Sessman, Mafia, and Timmy Z. I know you've had a lot of great praise for all these guys, including Timmy. Domi back in net as well. At least that goaltending situation's kind of panned out for you now.
Oh yeah, Domi's been a little bit rocky as far as like personality wise. Like, you know, you never know what you're gonna get with them. So, I mean, a lot of people probably think that I was playing some sort of a mind game, which obviously I would never do such a thing. So it's just that it just so happened that he's ready to play, and you know, it's worked out. He's been a little shaky, but you know, I don't know. I guess he's getting reacclimated with the game. He spent a lot of time on 18, lost a lot of interest, but it seems like it may be coming back slowly.
Boy, you almost have to be a bit of a psychologist as well as GM in this game, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess it helps a little bit. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could be right, Biggie. Maybe just playing with vibes is, you know, one of the reasons you might need therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is with crazy people is that you hang around us long enough, you start to become crazy too, so.
Well, I think you picked up crazy from the start with your team, but I think you guys have the advantage going into this game, and if I was the Monsters, I'd be scared.
I would say we have a pretty significant advantage, but I mean, anything can happen, so who knows? I mean, you look at the lineups, and I mean, this is my if this was a baseball lineup, this is my number 4 hitter, you know. So this is kind of what I wanted. This is what I played with the whole series to get. I got it, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I've put my team in the best possible position to win it, and we'll just have to see. They have. I look over on their lineup, and they got Squall and they got Galchi, who's no slouch.
No.
But there's no Gumba, there's no Ferdes, there's no Beta, you know what I mean? So none of their quote-unquote heavy hitters are over there in their lineup. But they're all good players, so you have to respect them. Do
you care who's in net for them at this point? Do you feel like it hasn't made much of a difference?
It has to be as Bobcats for Game 6.
Like I know that, but I'm
whoever it is, I don't care. Honestly, they're both good goalies.
I only say that because I'm kind of surprised in a 2-2 game, in a 2-2 series in Game 5, that you're going to have to put, you're going to have to play both goaltenders, and I would have thought maybe Max was a little bit hotter at this point, although Bobcats has played incredibly well too. And that's why I don't know if I have a preference who I want in. I think if I'm you, I probably would have wanted it to be started the way they did it with Max in Game 5 and Bobcat in Game 6, just because if you can take that Game 5, I think you catch a little bit of a break with Bobcats in net, but not much.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard, like as far as managing the lineups in this series, you know what I mean? Like, I'll just be honest, Freeze did better than Be Nice, but I mean, he also had home ice, so I guess it was a little bit easier for him. But again, he kind of did what I wanted him to do most games, so it's worked out so far. But he's been tough to manage against. He's doing all the right things, honestly. I have to say, I have to speak up for him, and he is kind of doing all the right things. But that being said, you always have to have kind of a plan B, and he's sort of fallen into my plan B, so to speak.
Well, we've got I'm sorry, go ahead, Biggs.
I was going to say, based off your matchups that I've seen, I think if I was managing, I think he falls into my plan A. I'd love to see. I mean, I think unfortunately you lost Game 3. I didn't watch it or anything.
Yeah.
But when you're taking out a lineup with your line, you're doing awesome.
Yeah, we were able to negate his what I'm gonna refer to as his second line with D Herms and Gumba. So I'm gonna refer to that as his second line. So anytime you can get rid of his second line with your third line, and then that Game 1 comes in huge here. Without that win, I mean, that's, and I'm proud of that because I was a part of that win. And my line, we played to our strengths. You know what I mean? Like if you watch Game 1, and then especially Game 3. If you watch Game 3, the game that we lost, if you watch that game, they had the puck almost the entire game. But what did they do with it? All they tried was little bullshit piss raps. Gumba coming out of the corner, and every once in a while they might get it out to the point for a shot, which kind of bounced around a little bit. But at the end of the day, they had like 20 minutes time on attack, and they didn't do shit. But they ended up winning it. But really, they didn't do shit. I mean, they a good team probably would have ousted us long before 6 periods.
Yeah, that's that lineup strategy too, is those little shit turds. I mean, once you shut that down, they don't have much. I remember playing against Freeze, and he scored 2 goals on us, and they were both wraps and a shot from an insane angle. And it's like, as long as your goalie's in the game, they're not scoring anything.
Yeah. Yep. As long as you have, you got to make sure that you have 2 defenders who understand to be on the posts, and then you need a center who knows how to play defense, which happens to be my strong suit. You know what I mean? I may not be the most offensive player in the world, but when it comes to defense, I know how to play defense. I'm a decent defenseman, and I know how to play the center position. I know the game pretty well. So as long as you have a strong center, a strong defensive center, and then 2 defenders who understand the game, as well as your wingers pinching in and helping out, it's hard. You know what I mean? It's hard to get through a team like that, So we tried to steal one in Game 3, and we almost did. We came really close.
Well, let me ask Ducks that question. Vibes talks about his game and how, he's done more of that in the playoffs, being a little more defensive. And as a forward yourself, talk about the importance of the forwards helping out more during the playoffs. Do you think that is something that is something that should legitimately be happening, or do you not think that there should be a change in strategy about how much defense the forwards play, or even more specifically the center plays in the playoffs to help out the defense a little more?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the regular season, people get more carried on about like points and things like that. But then in the playoffs, it's all about getting the win. So I think like every forward steps back a bit more, plays a bit more defense. I know myself as a left wing, maybe in the regular season, I'd step up, like maybe try to get like a step up on the defenseman. But in the regular season, or in the playoffs, in the defensive zone, I'm going to be a bit more deep. Watch those one-timers from the right wing if they're in the top of the circle or whatever, and obviously play an overall more defensive style of game.
And as a defender, Biggie, I mean, obviously, everyone gets a little bit tighter, and so having that extra help, having guys back a little more, not breaking out so quickly, maybe assigning the left or the right wing somebody who's got good speed to maybe try and take a jump when they feel the puck is coming out of the zone. But for the most part, having your forwards come back and help you out, I think it just makes the game so much different for the defenseman and the goaltender.
Absolutely. I mean, defense comes as a team. You could say individuals are good at defense, and there are players that are good, but anyone could be ridiculed if they don't have, teammates to help them out. I've been coned myself many times, but I'm not going to blame it on teammates, but I've definitely played a little more aggressive because my teammates have given that player too much space, and then it's just that easy to get passed by, and even breakouts. It's all teamwork. It's all about position. It's all about the game plan. You play as a team. You play team defense, team breakouts, and it's way smoother. And the interesting thing is that a lot of teams don't do that in regular season. Come playoffs, they do it, and a lot of teams can't adapt to scoring against it either. So it's really interesting.
Well, I think, I think Vibes has certainly taken a good deal of ridicule during the season for what they perceived as being his play. But, I just speaking as a goaltender, I'm more than happy to see the center come back and help out in the slot. To make it tougher. I kind of feel like the center needs to play that way. He typically should not be the guy who's fast breaking out, who is looking to always score. He should be supporting his wingers and defense. The way I see it, And I don't know if you have the same philosophy overall about the position vibes, but I'd be curious to think of, how you feel about that center position in general, how it should be played in this league.
Center position, I mean, you got to be a two-way player. If you can't come back and help out your defense, you're shit. You don't belong in the middle. You belong on a wing. I guess with each center, it varies on how defensive you want to be. You know what I mean? Like me, I almost look at myself as a third defender. I try to stay high in the zone. I try to be a supporting sort of player in the offensive zone. As long as I can support the puck in the O zone and then make sure I get back as soon as I can and either guard the slot or help out whatever defender's got the puck on his end. That's pretty much all I really care about. And if I scored, less than a point per game as a center, I really don't care. As long as my wingers are getting the job done, obviously in a perfect world, you'd be a little bit of a puck distributor. But for me, the center needs to be able to play both ends.
I think it's very important, too, that centers have to stay low on breakouts. We stressed that in Stockton all year, and I played with user pick a lot, and that was his motto is, the lowest man on the breakout's the center because you have so much space to break out the puck. Wingers, you give the winger a puck, he's only got two options, carry it in or pass it to his center, but the center's got both wingers to pass to or carry it in. It's the best play in this game, and every team should be doing it. It's a very simple pass, and it also leaves the center being low leaves, room for error. If you give the puck away, the center's there to help in the best position. And we also ran D-go in the corner. Center covers in front of the net for the D-man. It's the perfect triangle. And it's just the three core players in a defensive team come from both D and that center. And you're right. If you can't play defense as a center, you're shit.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
We are going to have a stream hopefully shortly with the Moose and the Cleveland
I have
Monsters.
one if you need one.
I'll be more than happy to take it.
Yeah, sure, I got you.
We'll get that one. We don't have anything yet for the Marlies and the Crunch. Hopefully we'll have a stream for them shortly to show you. But yeah, some interesting series. This Cleveland and Moose series is one that you kind of had an idea that it was going to probably be a back and forth thing. It really is a chess match, and like I said too, Vibes. I have a lot of respect for Freeze as a GM. I think look, 2 seasons in a row, it's not a fluke. He doesn't have everybody coming back. His assistants were D-men on his squad, so he's had to build a team again for the most part, and he's done it one more time, and it's probably certainly the best matchup I think you've faced so far in the playoffs, and one that it's been more of a chess match for you in this series.
Oh yeah, no, he's done a really good job. He really has. You can't take that away from him. And he's got himself in a position to maybe take this to a Game 7. In fact, they just scored, so they're up 1-0.
I'm trying to. Yeah, we're gonna need that stream in a second. I'm gonna get the Toronto one up shortly here, as they're getting ready to go as well. Yeah, it's that's part of the game that I don't miss. Is being able to and is having to figure out the lineups and do the work that you need to do in order to really match up, and there's a lot of strategy, there's a lot of thinking and overthinking that goes on with this, and you hope that you're not going to be the person who does all the overthinking, but again, just not not fun during the playoffs, because you absolutely start to worry, did I line this up right? If you're at 1-1, 2-1, you start thinking, okay, did I make the right choice in who I'm starting here and how I got this going? And it is pretty stressful for a GM, for sure.
Oh, you ain't lying.
I think it's fun. It's half the battle preparing.
Well, you're a masochist.
I mean, I take a page out of Greek's book where if I'm the away team, I just post the lines and like whatever happens, happens. When you're the home team, though, for the games, that's when a little more of the preparing goes into place. But when you're away, just stick out your lines, and that's what you have.
We're going to get you to the live games here in a second as things get a little bit refreshed here for me. We'll show that to you. Both games are underway right now, and you'll see the scores momentarily. Right now, Cleveland still up 1-0, and Toronto, Syracuse, no score. They just started their first period a couple minutes ago. And we'll bring you the audio from the Cleveland game. Halfway through the first, and the Monsters, again, still up 1-0 in this one. Syracuse and Toronto, this series has also gone back and forth a lot, and so, again, wouldn't be surprised to see how this turns out, but Cleveland now scoring their second goal.
No school is the complete wrong side there.
Vibes, do you think your players have a bit of these guys are easy mentality?
They might.
I think again,
something you never want to do ever.
Right. Oh, there's a certain amount of confidence you get when you're up, and you know you're one game away, and you know you might be a little too loose to start the game. You know you might not be tight enough, and there is Toronto getting their first goal. And now the Moose have also been able to put one up on the board and down by one. This is starting to have a bit of a pace here, vibes of one that might be a bit high scoring.
Yeah. Yeah, I could at least breathe for a second now. So there's another one. All right, boys, let's go.
Wow. And that quickly.
I was about to say before both those goals, too. It doesn't look like the Moose is being outplayed either. The Monsters scored 2 goals. It's nothing special. And look at it, back to 2-2.
Yeah. Hopefully it's them waking the fuck up.
It could happen that quickly in this game if you're not awake. And I guess my guess is that Vibes texted somebody and scared the crap out of them.
I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah,
Wow, and it looks like
intense.
Cleveland definitely is.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, wow, another quick goal. They did not come back very quickly to help out. And another goal, second goal by Mafia in this one. Boy, you give him any kind of
he's dynamic.
Any kind of lane, and you're in trouble.
He's dynamic.
He's got one of the best centers to work with, too.
Yep, Timmy's good. He's got a good left wing, too. It's good line. I'm a fucking good GM to put this team together. Come on, boys.
Hey, I'm not a huge fan of Sussman, but I know that him and Timmy's have played.
He's good with Timmy. Yeah, right. Yeah, he's good with Timmy. Oh, boy.
Good block in front there, but boy, yeah, Mafia is just camping himself out there in the slot, and no one's taking him out. And that was...
I was talking to Moffitt the other day, you know, I was asking him, you know, who do you want to go up against? You know, like, what type of matchup do you want me to get you? And he said, I don't care. I said, well, come on, you got to have a preference, you know. He said, I don't care, I'm not losing.
He doesn't care.
So, all right. All right, fine.
You're lucky he remembers that there's anybody else in the league. He really doesn't. He is all about, I want to just, you know, he may have guys he prefers to play with, but he'll play with anybody if he has to. He's a gamer, and he doesn't care who he plays, that's for sure.
Oh, well, he really likes the line that he's with. He really likes Timmy and Sussman. He loves playing with them.
Yeah, I think that's a really complimentary line. I think that absolutely works well for these guys.
Yeah.
Second period well underway now in that game. Moose and the Monsters, another good shot by Mafia. He had Bobcats leaning.
Yeah,
Another
they're starting
good
to
save.
settle in too now. So. Are my notifications on Twitch, not Twitch, Skype annoying? You want me to get rid of those?
Yeah.
All right, I don't want me to get rid of them. Yeah.
I thought it was coming from me. I'm like, what's making that noise?
No, that's me. That's me. I just don't want to fucking turn away for a second because next thing I know, I'll be down by 3. All right, we're good now.
Pace has slowed down a little bit in that Cleveland game. Meanwhile, end of first period coming up with Toronto up 1-0.
You know, Cleveland kind of came out like a house on fire here. You know what I mean? And I guess you kind of have to expect that, right? But it seems to have quieted down a little bit now. Yes, yeah,
Oh,
baby.
what a great pass by Mafia. Had a man on him, had another man he had to get a pass by, and he was able to do that.
Sibs, am I allowed to be a little bit of a fan here? I'm sorry. I'm kind of.
As long as you don't scream in their ears, that's fine.
All right, I won't scream, but
Don't worry,
a little bit of...
there's 2 fans for the Moose here.
All right, good.
Don't worry, next series there won't be 2 fans for the Moose.
I don't know if you've gotten Biggie converted completely yet.
He's coming around.
No.
He's coming around.
Western Pacific all the way.
He's coming around.
I hear you there.
If it wasn't Stockton, it was someone else from the Western Pacific.
There's one for the fucking goddamn it.
You know what? I think too, at least defensively, I know Sieg a little bit, and I think you might be in her head as far as panic, maybe. So
yeah,
that might be something you guys have in your favor.
Well, what made that worse is how quickly they scored those first 2 goals, and that has to fuck with a defender's head.
Just tied it up.
And now they just tie it up.
Might be a high stick.
That looked high.
That did look like a high stick. Look at the replay here.
Oh no,
that's a high stick. That's a high stick.
That might be legit.
That was about chest high.
You're blind. Shut up. You're blind.
Syracuse is just tied up their game.
Difference. This is fucking the gayest game.
Syracuse just
like
tied
the
up their
fucking
game.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar skyhook. I mean, come on. Now goal. Come on.
They're calling it. They're calling it a goal. It wasn't high enough. It's a good opportunity, though. But, yeah, you always got to worry about that. Now, Syracuse has just gone ahead with their second goal. 2 quick ones, and they're trying to stay alive in their series.
You know, if all your games are high scoring like this, you might struggle against the Barracuda.
Usually not like this.
Definitely taking notes here.
Ducks is already trash talking.
Well, I mean, it keeps going like this. You're not going to have to play me anyway, so.
I'm sure you'll straighten out the boys if it even goes to game 7.
Vibes is 99% fatalist and then 1% psycho, which is what keeps him in these.
Yeah.
You've been on edge. You know, we're gonna lose kind of attitude the whole time, but you guys have been able to figure it out.
Looks like Syracuse.
Yeah, we've been all right.
Yeah, Syracuse has now starting to play a lot better offensively. Now they're going to take a penalty and have to kill one here, but they got themselves on top after really not having much of the play there in the first period. Now the Moose will go on the power play here. First power play, as you hear Doc tell you, is their first opportunity on the power play for the Moose, and a little disjointed, but now puck pickup and had quickly an opportunity in front. Halfway through that game between Syracuse and Toronto, with the Crunch still up 2-1, looking to get that one to a 7th game. 4-4.
In the shout box earlier, but remember last series you said Tanner hadn't lost a single game in the playoffs. Well, he's lost 2 in that series.
Has he?
Yeah. But someone else commented saying that's after they placed him with Lobo Dangles.
Oh boy.
There we go.
Oh boy.
Well, that unfortunately, I think for Lobo, that discussion is never going to end, no matter what is provided.
Nah, he's gonna have to stick with that for a long time.
Yeah.
I think he might be a player, though, that, like I said earlier, might not adjust very well to the playoff defense.
Well, I tell you what, if you do have forwards coming back to help out, it absolutely, and there's one that sneaks through for Toronto, and they've tied it up now too. You know, if you play up front, you know, Ducks vibes, you can talk to it. When there are more guys clogging that middle, you know, all of a sudden you don't have nearly the kind of room you had to maneuver.
No, absolutely not. It's tough to get through when a team's clogging the middle properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, I think for goaltenders and defensemen, while it is a help to have them come back, they have to know where they're positioning. Otherwise, they wind up getting in the way sometimes.
Yeah, you never want to bump your goalie in the defensive zone, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's happened more than once.
To his energy, people got to know when to backcheck and when not to. Forwards are definitely the players that lose energy more often.
Third period about to start now, as you see, for Cleveland and the Moose. Cleveland on the attack so far. I tell you one thing, Ducks, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I'm seeing a lot quicker passing in the games we've seen tonight. Guys in much better position to receive those passes than we've seen a lot of typical league play during the season.
Yeah, the playoffs are a lot about the transition game. I mean, you need your defensemen to be quick on the breakouts, and your forwards better be back to receive them, just so you can get that step on the other team. Make sure they don't set up defensively, because once they set into that trap, that's when it gets hard to penetrate them.
Moose with an opportunity here. Good shot. Oh, and a follow-up opportunity there. But Bobcats able to get a toe of a pad on there and hold on to it. You know, you talk a lot about the wraps and some of the wide angle stuff and all those kinds of goals. I don't know how much that gets back to EA, but you know, I guess as a goaltender, I am obviously dead set against a lot of that stuff. But I think it takes away from whether or not somebody has any real talent in playing a team game when you're allowed to make those kinds of moves.
I think they're also, like, I hate them as well, but they're good for making a goalie respect his own positions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when a goalie won't come off his post, you gotta force him to respect your cross crease passes, or force him to respect someone. Or if he keeps stopping your cross crease passes, you gotta give him a reason to respect his post, and that's one of those reasons. One of those utilities, I guess.
Good steal and good opportunity there. Nice try. Nice steal in the Cleveland zone to give the Moose a chance here. And Mafia trying to get one jammed into the corner there, but not able to. Mafia is one of those guys for Hershey last season. If we were struggling to get any offense going, you know, he would try his damnedest to get a good offensive strategy going. But if it wasn't happening, he was one of those guys who'd say, "Give me the puck, and let me just try and get something happening."
Yeah.
You need heroes on your team. Not everyone could be a hero, but you need heroes.
Well, that's for sure. The Crunch have gone ahead now in their game. 3-2, 16-17 left to go in that one. And Toronto trying to close this one out, but the Crunch trying to get it to a Game 7 tomorrow night. If there is one, we'll bring it to you. Same thing with this series between the Monsters and the Moose. Cleveland, good opportunity there. Good try to get the puck in front and get some opportunities, but nothing doing.
Good job on the draw. Winnipeg's in control of the puck in their own end.
Doing okay over there, Vibes?
I'm not really. I'm okay, I guess, kind of. I'm here, I'm alive, but.
And Toronto's just scored to tie their game up now in the third. 13 left to go. Penalty's going to get called on Cleveland, and here's a power play. 0 for 1 tonight, the Moose, and here's a chance for them to do something as we are about to hit the 5-minute mark here in the third period.
He banked it right ahead. Lets it go.
Wow, good opportunity there. Nice try.
Moves behind the net.
Now Mafia looking for someone out front. No one in the slot.
Now he cleared it. Onside. Gathered in by the Devil. Trying to
Moose start back out again.
pass attempt to Gabo. Set up
It's got to be scary as a goalie too, or those saucer pass shots or whatever.
Shooter, that's usually in.
Good opportunity there. Sessman had a good shot.
This one to Gabo.
Bobcats got over to make the save, and right now the Moose are making some tremendously good passes. And there's Mafia trying to make that happen. Gets it back behind the net. Gets it to the point. Actually, deep slot
The Monsters wheel one ahead.
to Sess, but he cannot get a shot off.
Corner dump of the puck. Snapping a pass to Sestito. Gets in, looks over his options here. Terrific pad save. Taken toward the neutral zone. We're in the last minute of play. And
So this one may be going to OT. We're under a minute to go.
went ahead. I hope he's okay.
I don't know if I can handle another 5 overtime game.
And there's going to be, and now there's a fight.
That's a smart fight. I give whoever that is credit. You just take a hard forecheck away from Cleveland.
Leg match. And a star player is involved. There you see the smarts of that star player.
That's who, Timmy's that just fought?
I don't know who that was. I think it was CJ. I think it was CJ.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, they're defensemen. They're right.
I don't know. I'm kind of as useful as a wet dish rag right about now. So,
Well, it's an opportunity for
trying to hang in
the
there.
for the crowd to for the viewers to be able to see a quiet Vibes, which doesn't happen often.
Yeah, I guess they don't get that very often, right? Yeah.
6 minutes left to go in the third, as you see, for the Toronto-Syracuse game, tied up at 3. And a shot looked like it was going to sneak under the post, went over, and the Crunch coming back out. 5 minutes left to go in that one. Now back to the Cleveland and Manitoba game.
I think the Monsters kind of win.
And,
It is
oof,
good.
there you go. On a quick pass. Dangles, able to put it off a good, quick slap shot, and there's nothing you can do about that if you're in net.
I didn't mean that they were going to score, but then they did. I meant the Monsters kind of win the draw on which players are going to the box for the fight. I mean, you usually don't want a D-man computer. Winger's not so bad. Good forechecking.
Getting down to 20 seconds left to go in this third period. Cleveland throwing it into the zone. No icing on that play. And
What a save by Yellow there in the Crunch game. The goalie dove out to cover the puck, but he actually tripped over Yellow there, and he actually made the kick save there.
1 seconds left, and this game is over, and Cleveland has taken it 5-4, and that series now tied up at 3 games apiece. Meanwhile, Toronto and Syracuse are getting down to their last 45 seconds here and see whether or not these guys are able to get this to an OT or if anyone's going to come back in this one and take the lead. If we go to OT, we'll stay here and go full screen on the game. Try and give you a little bit of a summary of the Moose game. Meanwhile, you have your, I'm assuming you have your Game 7 lineup in mind, Vibes?
I'm going to put it in right now.
I like it.
Well, once you get it in there, you can absolutely talk to us about it.
Yep, we're going to put it in right now.
Syracuse now with a 2-on-1. Oh, good opportunity there to maybe close this game out.
Goes for a slap shot.
Kind of surprised on a 2-on-1 to make an opportunity like that.
Probably didn't see the time on the clock there.
We'll give this a quick refresh and bring it back to a full screen for this overtime as we'll continue to cover this game. As Toronto has the 3-2 lead in this series. Looking to close it out. So an overtime goal for the Marlies will end this series, and we'll have just the one left. We'll see how this goes. But, boy, back and forth, and, you know, I tell you what, Biggs, it looked like that Cleveland defense was struggling for at least a good half part of this game, and then finally were able to gather themselves together and played a much better second half of that game.
Absolutely. They did what they had to do. I wouldn't say they shut down Mafia, but they definitely limited what he had to do. He was all over them at the start, and he really didn't seem like anything special in the second half of that game.
Right. Yeah, I think that, I mean, that is a huge part of what happened there. You know, we saw Mafia just all over the place, going anywhere he wanted to, and that was a heck of a defensive stand there by Cleveland. Meanwhile, we're back to this game, Syracuse-Toronto, overtime. And Ducks is going to have to wait another day to find out who he plays.
Oh, well. That's the way it goes.
All right, I think I'm okay now. I'm here.
Wow.
And the Crunch have sent this one to a 7th game, 2 series, going at 7 tomorrow. And boy, they are not going to give in. As good as this Toronto team is, they are not giving in to anything here. They struggled early in this game. It looked like the Marlies had good control of it, but again, a tale of 2 games there. Whoa, what a high shot, just basically hitting the shoulder and the mask, it looked like. And
handcuffed them there.
Boy, that is just something you don't want to have to ever deal with as a goaltender, and there's not much you can do when that happens.
Yeah, at that point it's just all animation, and yeah, they're going to be cursing out EA tonight, that's for sure.
Well, this game is over, and we'll get back to a discussion of these series now that we have 2 series going 7 games. Does this Syracuse-Toronto series do anything to help out Springfield at all? Does it give them more of an opportunity to be able to watch these games, or at least tomorrow night's game, and see what they're up against? Or does it help them out at all? Does it do nothing for them really?
I don't think, and I mean this with the utmost respect, I don't think Springfield stands a chance against either team. They might get to 6 games, but there's no way they're going to get past any of that. Toronto and Syracuse both have too much power, and I don't see the Thunderbirds' lower lines really stepping up against those big lines.
You see Syracuse outshot by Toronto 24-14. And but just not able to get the solid opportunities when they needed it. And so again, Syracuse taking the win in this one, and moving on to a 7th game, 2 series moving forward. I'm hoping to get Derms on here shortly to talk a little bit about his game and maybe fight a tad more with vibes, which is always fun. But in the meantime, from the play that we saw tonight, Ducks, and the level of play that we saw tonight, again, yeah, obviously it's playoffs. We're seeing the best team. We're seeing guys, really feel for having something on the line. But I still think the level of talent is really showing even more so in this playoff run, we're seeing some really good team play and some level of play that I'm not sure we had seen in previous playoff seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's season 5. Everyone's getting settled into the PSN side. You see a lot of Xbox guys, like in the Moose case, like even Mafia Man come over to the PSN. So, like you said, extremely high levels of play in the playoffs. It's going to be a lot of fun to keep watching.
Hey, Biggs, any tall buildings around you? Got any tall buildings?
Nope, not in the small town.
Nothing. What's the tallest thing you got? I mean, if you just get to it and jump off it, all right?
Wow.
I'm gonna attach a bungee cord to it, so it's more fun.
So have you not put a lefty in yet, Vibes? Is that the deal?
That's my secret.
Yeah. So you're going back to Sessman, Mafia, and Timmy Z, and Domi and Net and CJD, the professor on right D. At least that's what you have in there for now. Yeah, you got time to change that.
I don't think it's a secret to hide what you're putting in Game 7, personally. I mean, unless people are really studying their plays, you throw in your best line,
I mean, I'm not sure who else you would put in there, although, you know, if you want more of a defensive presence, maybe Vibes does throw himself in there. Maybe it's the Go.
Oh yeah, no, actually, okay, you got me. I'm gonna be my center in Game 7. You know, I wasn't gonna say anything, but now that Sibs has outed me, yeah, I'm putting myself in.
Boy, if you played first of all, even if you won and you played Game 7, you would get a ton of shit for that. And if you lost, oh man,
it's kind of like no matter what. If I win, if I lose, no matter what, I'm gonna get shit, right? So
well, yeah. Well, look, you know, more than half the league is rooting against you. I'm sure.
yeah. No, I'm sure. I'm fine. It's okay.
I don't know, Nylander, Go Hawks. Maybe you throw them back out there again. That could be interesting.
I might. You never know. I don't know. I could change my line as much as I want until game time.
That's right. Let's talk a little bit about the Toronto-Syracuse matchup. Obviously, you know, you would think Lobo's going to be out there again for Game 7. What are we thinking here? I'll start with you, Ducks. With these two teams, they're both incredibly loaded. Is there any way to predict, you know, what's going to happen in this series, or is it a coin flip at this point?
Yeah, with Game 7, it might be a coin flip. I mean, if I might throw a shout out to a Biggs boy with tenure. If he comes out and has another big game like he did in the Game 7 against the Senators, that might be a huge game changer. But like you said previously, it's going to be a defensive battle, and it's pretty much a coin flip at this point, I think.
I think Toronto's got the advantage in this series. I think they've been putting out better numbers as far as goals. And I know that Tanner's a great player, but once again, it comes down to team defense, and if he doesn't play well defensively with his forwards and his other D partner, one player won't make a difference.
We're going to get D. Herms on here now. He was kind enough to put together an update of that playoff grid as you're looking at right now. Again, the Thunderbirds and the Barracuda have moved on. We're waiting for 2 more Game 7s to play tomorrow night, and one of those will be the Moose and the Monsters. And we've had Vibes on to talk about the Moose angle, but now D. Herms joins us on the post-game here to talk about their game tonight and Game 7 coming up. First of all, congratulations on the victory tonight, and again, another battle with this damn Moose team, right?
Good Lord, Vibes, you have me shaking in my boots with these games. Oh my God, I was anxious the entire way through. Like no other playoff game I've watched in this league. It's incredible. That back and forth was nuts.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Well, you must have. I mean, how close were you on life support for that 6 OT game, or?
Oh God! If you go back to the VOD and listen to me at the goal, it's just bad. I my voice just went up so many octaves when we put that in. It was just pure excitement.
Started
to
to sound like a dog whistle eventually. Was that the case?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's along the lines.
So Game 7, it's really been a battle back and forth. But Game 7 tomorrow night, obviously, I don't think Freeze really knows what he's going to do just yet. And if he does, he's certainly probably not going to tell you just yet. But, do you have any idea what to expect in a Game 7? Do you have a general strategy that you think you guys are gonna try to accomplish, or is this just, look, we're gonna throw our best out there and see what happens?
I'd like to keep it close to the chest, at least in terms of strategy. I know Vibes is open about his lineups, but I think we still need to have conversations about how we're going to approach this Game 7. Definitely threw us for a loop with how deep this series has gone, so we're gonna have to talk it over.
Oh, so you weren't expecting that then?
I wasn't. I'm gonna be straight up. I wasn't expecting 7.
Surprise. I honestly, after Game 5, I thought we had you in 6. I thought you were done, but the line pulled it off.
It was.
Hats off to them.
Yeah.
Fun to watch. It was fun to watch. No, it wasn't. It was terrible to watch. It was fucking awful to watch.
What is after these games so far in both these series, and now going to a Game 7 with the Moose? I mean, how would you categorize how your team is playing to this point? Are they about where you figured they would be? Were you guys expecting to play better overall in the playoffs? How would you assess your team's performance so far in these first 2 rounds?
I think we've played well. I think there were a couple of setbacks. I think Beta's availability issues tonight definitely threw us for a loop in the early game, but we came back strong in the second one, and I'm glad we were able to overcome that. I think that speaks to our cohesiveness as a unit in the face of adversity. But man, quality of our team this playoffs has been good. Things that I would have liked to have maybe in round 1, just in terms of availability, but we're past that now, and going forward, I think we're gonna go well with that. So I think that answers your question. At least I rambled a little bit at the end, but
not a problem. Again, we talked a little bit about Freeze earlier as the game was about to start. Vibes has talked about the fact that he's done a pretty good job of trying to match up lines, trying to put out good lines when he had to put them out first, where he felt like he would be able to compete well with what Vibes was doing. Talk a little bit about what Freeze has been able to do so far in this series.
Freeze, I'll be honest, I don't have as much input into the line making decisions. So if anyone's going to answer questions about lines, that's going to be him, because I know he has this. I've seen the spreadsheets, but I have no input in terms of decision making on that. That's all Freeze's managerial genius when it comes to matching up with Vibes' lines. I know Vibes said, I think it was before the game, that Freeze kind of played into what you wanted, but I'm not
so much.
Not so much?
Not so much. Like a plan B almost.
Okay.
He's been good. He's been better than Be Nice. Be Nice was awful. Be Nice should never manage again.
You said that
but I like him.
We had home ice advantage, so we had that going for us.
Yeah, you did. You have home ice advantage, so it's been a little bit easier, I guess. Yeah, but he's done a decent job. He's been good. He's been good. Honestly, if I was grading him, I'd give him like a B+.
I think he's done a solid job. To be perfectly honest.
He has. Yeah.
What you playing tomorrow night then, Derms?
No comment.
Just trying to get something out of you. Listen,
Derms, listen.
Yeah.
If you don't want to say who's playing, that's fine and all good. Can you tell me who's not playing?
Let's see.
See?
I don't even know, honestly. We still need to have discussions in the management chat as to what lines we're running with, and I'm pretty sure Siege and Freeze will yell at me if I reveal any information. So I'm not
sure
gonna.
they will.
I'm gonna stray away from doing that.
But I tell you what I think is gonna be Game 7 as soon as I.
Let's hear it.
Here. Okay, on forwards you're probably looking at. I would probably see you at center, with Ferdays beside you and Beta, if they're available, and I'm expecting to see T-Ball and Troy with Max and net. I think that's your best chance. Personally.
I would expect to see T-Ball for sure.
Do me next, Biggs. Do me.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to hear what you think, Biggs, on the Moose. Just let me get a notepad out real quick, and go into strengths and weaknesses.
I got a tattoo gun in my chest, so go ahead, let's have it.
Okay, well, you're obviously going to put Domi in net. I don't think he hasn't played that well, but I think he's still the better goaltender. Offense, it's a toss-up. I think it's obvious who your right winger is. You're going to put Mafia in. Whether Timmy's and Sessman are actually going to play, I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised to see Nylander and go Hawks instead. I don't know how well Mafia plays with them, but I think that's the only toss-up. And defense, I don't really know any of your D except CJ, and I know he'll play in it. So.
Well, Go Hawks is saying that you will see him. That's what he's saying in the YouTube chat.
Yeah, well, that's Go Hawks being the cocky bastard that he is.
Well, I tell you what, I think that lends to the fact that I think Vibes has a few options, and I think he's got a couple of combinations that he could use. I mean, look at the forwards. I mean, you could, I know Bear and Brian haven't necessarily had a great playoff run yet, but they're two solid players. I would got to believe Mafia's in there somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think what he's got in there, Mafia, Sussman, and Timmy, is probably what I would go with. I wouldn't want to mix and match too much at this point, guys, and I definitely like to hear what Ducks and Biggie have to say about this. I'm not a big fan of mixing and matching in a Game 7, only because, it really depends on whether or not there is any chemistry with these players elsewhere outside of, playing LG games all the time with each other. If you start mixing and matching lines, I think you lose chemistry. I'm not a big fan of that, Ducks, and I got to believe, if I know the sanity which you operate with, you probably don't think that's a good idea either.
Yeah, not too much. In the one Game 7 I did play in, it was me, Squid, and Razor, and it was a little mixing up the lines there. Squid's not our usual center; it's usually JCap.
Right.
But Squid and I and Razor, we play a little bit outside of LG, so that helped a lot. But I mean, for the most part, I wouldn't mind mix up your line too much. I'd just put your top line out there if they're available, and then. If they're not available, I guess just go to Plan B.
Ducks, has the question been asked on who you'd rather face yet? I don't know if Sibs has asked that question.
Oh no,
I don't think he has asked that.
No, I have
I'm not sure I want to answer that.
Really?
Let me answer that for him. It doesn't matter.
Ooh.
That's a good answer, yeah. I think I'll go with that.
I don't know. It sounds to me like he'd rather play the Moose. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, that makes you sound weaker.
I'm honestly, we got 5 of the guys from Checkers last season plus Squid, so we're the Monster Slayers too. So either one, throw either one at you. I'll take either one of you guys on. Throw them both at the same time. I'll take both of your teams.
Vibes, did you just confirm a line?
Yeah.
Well, for now, it's not set in stone yet.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this the old-fashioned way, kid.
Okay.
I think both Vibes and Freeze have done a hell of a job so far. So, in that front, I think you're gonna go up against two good management groups, one way or the other. Vibes is a greasier bastard, so you have to deal with that.
I've been pretty greasy this playoffs too. I don't know if the Texas or the Rain GM will give you anything if you do face me, but I've had a couple tricks. So.
Yeah, that might be interesting. You go up again. Just because I know Vibes and I would not want to play poker against him for anything. I think I would rather face Cleveland. Only because of that reason. But for player talent, I don't know. I mean I think Cleveland's got a better overall defense, I think. Better goaltending, for sure.
I'd say so.
So I don't know. I mean, talent-wise, I might want to play the Moose more, but Vibes concerns me for many reasons.
I was saying
honestly, at this point, I just want to fucking fight all of you. You guys just want to fight?
Are you referring to everyone in the Skype chat or everyone in the Monsters?
I think everybody in LG is what he's saying. Sorry, Biggs, we interrupted you.
If I was San Jose, I'd probably want to play the Moose because you're playing into an offense-heavy team, and I think San Jose has a stronger defense with offensive power, so it's a lot easier to put the numbers up if defensive mistakes are made.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a lot easier, to play a scoring game against a team than it is to play heavy defense against another team. So I think they'd have a better chance against the Moose. But like I said, I don't think it matters.
The one thing I would say, the one reason I kind of would rather the Moose is I'd have home ice advantage. But I mean that's not such a big thing, but it definitely helps.
Mm-hmm.
Derms, any final words for Vibes before we are about to get going here?
Sure. What happened with that full ice goal? I just want to ask.
With the what?
The full ice goal in Game 3.
The full icicle?
The full ice goal.
Oh, the Braves part
the full ice goal.
Yeah, we reversed the curse of Braves.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I may have to look into that. It seems like Domi, he's been a little, he hasn't been completely happy with his team, and it's been on the fence whether or not he's actually trying. So I gotta look into it, really. I might have to bring the league into it and see if maybe we can replay that game or something. I'm not exactly sure. But, we won that game, so it's okay. Whether or not you cheated, it doesn't really matter.
All right. Well, listen. Let me get some final thoughts from.
I got a final thought. Why the hell did you have to win Game 6? Why could you not just roll over and die, you mother?
Why couldn't you roll over in Game 5 and then give us?
Why do we have to do?
Why do we have to do this? It's so much anxiety.
Are we finally in agreement about something? It sounds like we're in agreement about something. Why do we got to do Game 7?
I don't want Game 7.
I think we're all in agreement that you two are a couple of snowflakes for agonizing so much over this. No.
No.
Is that, I guess that's kind of the last words for the broadcast right there.
Well, maybe let me let Biggs and Ducks get a few more words in before we get going.
We got score predictions for the Monsters Moose game.
Well, let's get that as a final thought. Biggs, how do you think this one's going to end up tomorrow?
Give me 1 second.
Ooh.
Let's see.
I mean, it's hard to guess with no lineups in, but
yeah.
Well, if Vibes is playing 9-1 Monsters, I predict serious prediction. I predict 4-3 Moose OT.
Ducks.
I might choose the Monsters. Go 3-1 Monsters.
Wow. I think we know what you two guys are going to say, so I don't think there's any point in bringing that up.
I predict a lot of alcohol and maybe some heroin and Xanax, and I don't know. Hopefully, I'm in a fucking coma by the end of the night.
That'll be fun.
Listen, guys, thanks again. Thanks for coming on. And,
you didn't pick. You got to pick. Ed, pick.
I don't know.
Come on, pick.
I've been scared of the Moose the whole time. I picked Cleveland to win the series, so I'm going to stick with that.
Hey.
And again, Vibes goes quiet. That's it for tonight, Ducks and Bigs. Thanks for joining us again. Hopefully we'll talk to you guys tomorrow night as well for Game 7s.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. That's it for the show tonight. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you tomorrow night for both Game 7s, Marley's Crunch and Moose and Monsters. Until then, TSibs saying so long.